Well, sports fans, it has been a banner summer for the Yankees and Mets, and we've got our good friend Samori Benjamin, the sports director for WBAI, joining us this morning. Samori, it's so good to be a Yankee or a Met fan this summer. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Bobby. It's good to see you again and good to be on with you guys. Yeah, and if you're a baseball fan here in New York and you're a fan of one of the two teams, then it's definitely a fun summer, and there's still a lot to take place too.
Now, Samori, you think it's got a good chance to be a Subway Series? I know it's still a little early, but for the first time, I think as we move into kind of the mid-season, the Midsummer Classic coming up, the halfway point of the baseball season, I think it's fair to say that we've kind of reached a point where at least it looks a lot more like a significant possibility.
Yeah, it's something that definitely crosses your mind as the season goes along, and it will be great. And really, for me, it will be great because the last time that happened in 2000, I was away in school, undergrad. I was in Virginia, so I was not even in New York to experience what that felt like. So I definitely would love to be here when that happens, and it will be fun to cover it. Would be special. And the one thing, of course, is in baseball how hard it is to get through the postseason, and I feel like it's harder to get through the baseball postseason than definitely the NBA and the football one too. Baseball postseason we've seen over the years that is very unpredictable, and it's the Yankees, for example, since 2004, they've only been to the World Series one time, and that was 2009. And before that, they had gone like 8 times, six, 7 times. They went 96 through 2000, 4 times, then 01, 5 times, 03. So 7 times in like 9 years. And since then, they've only been once, right? And since that time, 04 through now, they've had a lot of really good, talented teams that were the best teams on paper, and they get to the playoffs and they get knocked off. So right now, you definitely hope that the Yankees this year, because look, they're having a great season. They're running away with the best record in baseball, but if they don't get to the World Series and they get knocked off in the playoffs, it'll be a big disappointment. So that's kind of what worries you right now from the Yankees perspective. And the Mets, yeah, they begin a big series tonight against Atlanta, and they definitely are on the right track, but they've got a long ways to go too. But we love seeing Buck Showalter there as manager.
Yeah, I think the Yankees, I think you would agree some more. I mean, being at these games, you go to cover all the games, and the Yankees this season have really been dominated. If it's not the Aaron Judge show and the offense, which has been, I think the unsung hero of this year's Yankee resurgence, we'll say, because again, they've had good teams, but this has been the best team that they've had in a very long time. It has been that bullpen. And I think that says a lot when you consider the fact that Aroldis Chapman hasn't really been a main factor there. Zach Britton, of course, has been injured. And you see some names. I mean, Clay Holmes, arguably the best reliever in baseball.
Yeah, and they lost Jonathan Loaisiga, who was very good for them last year, very good. He went down, and he'll be coming back soon. And, of course, Aaron Boone's man, Chad Green, out for the year, and he's somebody who's been a big part of the Yankees bullpen, who they've gone to for big outs over the years. Yeah, and Clay Holmes, he's been outstanding. Saturday, you would have liked to see him be able to get through that against Boston. He was not able to. He came in with some guys on base, and they tried to get him the 4-out save, and he gave up a run in the 8th, and then the Red Sox battled back for the win. For a Yankee fan, really, you don't want to see Boston in the playoffs. I mean, you're not afraid of Boston, but the last thing you want is for Boston to having this great season, then get to the playoffs and Boston knocks you off. I mean, the Yankees, for as great of a season they're having, if they face Boston and the Astros in the playoffs, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. So
I agree, Samori, 100%. I mean, I think in the American League, the Yankees' path to the World Series could be blocked easily by their newest rivals, which is the Houston Astros. So you've got their longtime rivals in the Boston Red Sox and their newest nemesis, which the last few years the Yankees have not been able to get past, and that's Houston Jose Altuve just completely owns the Yankees. And then in the National League, the Mets have had a hard time with teams like the Atlanta Braves. I think most Met fans would probably be happier to see the Dodgers, who have been a longer time nemesis for them, just like Yankee fans might actually be happier to see Boston playing against the Yanks than they would to have to face Houston.
Yeah, and definitely the Astros, a very tough team, but the Yankees might have to play both in the playoffs, right? but I think Boston proved the last two games over the weekend that they're not afraid of the Yankees. It'll be very interesting to see what happens this weekend as the two teams will play a 4-game series to close out the first half. But this weekend was the Yankees' first time in Boston this season, and the Red Sox showed that they're a game and that you're not afraid of them. And, they have a lot of good players. And to your point, the Yankee bullpen, Chapman is not giving them much. We'll see if he can become a factor for them in the second half. But Clay Holmes has been really good. But again, Clay Holmes, he's somebody who the postseason, getting these big outs, these last few outs of the game, is going to be all new to him, right? So he's got to still prove that he can get through it and get it done. Chapman is somebody who he's shown that he always has a hiccup in a big spot in the playoffs. And so it appears that definitely Holmes is going to be the one who they're going to lean on to get the final 3 or 4 outs. And but he's got to prove that he can get it done.
And Samori B, you talk about stars. The Yankees definitely have had their fair share this season of stars that have produced well. We mentioned a few of them, guys like Holmes and Aaron Judge, and a bunch of them going to the All-Star game. I mean, this is one of the first times I can remember seeing this kind of presence from the Yankees in the All-Star game, and maybe since like 2010, 11, around that early part of the decade. What do you think of the Yankee All-Stars this year?
One thing that I'm very excited about is seeing Big G, Giancarlo Stanton, starting in the All-Star game with Aaron Judge. When the Yankees traded for Giancarlo Stanton, the goal and the vision was to have two beasts, Stanton and Judge, together in the lineup doing damage. And they got Stanton when he had come off his MVP year where he hit 59 home runs, which was the most home runs ever of any player not linked to steroids outside of Ruth and Maris. And I've always been a big fan of G. I always believed in him, but his thing was to stay healthy. In 2019 and 2020, he hardly played because of injury. Yankee fans got very down on him. 2018, his first year, he was solid, but he had a bad first round against Boston, so you already know how that's going to go with Yankee fans. But the last two postseasons, 2020, he was excellent in the postseason. And last year, second half of the last 2 months of last season, Stanton was arguably the best hitter in the game. Listen, this guy hits the ball harder than any player I've ever seen. But to see him be that power force that the Yankees knew he could be, and see him come in, take what he did the last 2 months of last year, where he was just a complete game wrecker, and pick it up this year, first half, and be very good. Has 22 home runs now. So I love seeing him and Judge starting in the All-Star game together. And then you have 4 other guys with the catcher, Trevino, of course, Garrett Cole, Nestor Cortez, and Clay Holmes. Yeah. So so they got 6 guys there. So it'll definitely be great. It would be even better if Aaron Judge decided to get into the home run derby. I think he may be a little. He does not want to smoke from Pete Alonso, but Giancarlo said that he may get into it, so that would be cool if he did.
That was part 1 of our interview with WBAI Sports Director Samori Benjamin. Tune in this Monday for part 2 as we talk some more Yankees and Mets baseball.